Bonjour, mes amis. Good day, beautiful people. I am now in another part of the Katala regions of Earth. And this video today, although unplanned again, has come after 2 days of meditation. I've been sitting here and I've been contemplating, because that's the only way you stay in the now. You contemplate. When you think, you go into the future or you go into the past. But as you contemplate, you forever remain in the now. And in my contemplations, I have been asking, how is it that the Slavs and the Jews have managed to change everything in the manner that they have? In furtherance to the things I've already shown you. For in the last 10 years, I've been writing on the blog and showing you on the videos how things have come together in history, providing a context so you can all see the situations you are in today. So you can see that behind every situation, there is a true context of which they hide from you. Remember, they have professional historian writers for a reason. They create the past, a lie, a fiction that makes you see nothing true, and therefore stay unknowing of the situation of the day, today, the current you are in. So the last 10 years, I've been showing you a truth that they've been putting together over the last 3,000 years plus in creating this civil and social world of falsehoods that you all live in today. Yet as I travel around over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been asking myself, how is it there are so many homeless people everywhere? And in Brazil, I've been dealing with that directly with the people there in Brazil, so we'll leave that one there. But yet, I am now back in the Katala regions of Europe. And as I've traveled up and down the Katala regions of Europe over the last few years, I've seen something. I mean, I saw it before in Paris, because I've been going back to Paris every 5 to 10 years for the last 30, 40 years of my life. I began in school. In school, I went to France for what do they call them? A student transfer program. And we went through Paris, and this was the beginning of my reconnaissance of Earth. 10 to 14 years old, I began my reconnaissance of Paris. Going to Biarritz, I borrowed a motorbike, off one of the family I was living with. And I drove all over Biarritz doing my first reconnaissance of a town, city. My very first. Understanding and seeing the true nature of how America had been built into the very structure of Biarritz as it is today. And how the psychologies of turning men gay and female gay is built into the structure of the land. How the history of Napoleon and the separation of soulmates via the story of Napoleon, his love, how he built that castle in the water for his love, which is total bullshit, by the way. It's a historians writing a total fiction in the history, historical fiction. And what it is, there's a coordination between themselves and splitting up the soulmates. My first reconnaissance on a region of Earth outside of London, Biarritz, and then Paris. And I've been going back to Paris, as I said, every 5 to 10 years for the last 40 years of my life. And I am 43. And as I've been going back, I've seen that every time I go back, there are less and less Catalan, what you call the Gaulicians. Less and less in Paris. And there are more and more Slavs and Jews of all the different areas of the northern parts of Earth. And every time I go back, there's more and more Slavs and less Catalan, or Gauls as you want to call them. Until recently I've gone back and there are hardly any, just handfuls here and there in Paris, and they are being broken psychologically because they're surrounded by the Slavs and the Jews who are killing them. And all over the Catalan regions of Earth, we find exactly the same things. And as well as this, I see loads of Catalan people living on the streets. You never see a Slav or a Jew living on the street. It's very telling, everyone. It doesn't matter what country you go to on Earth. When you see homeless, they are never Slav and they are never Jew. That should tell you something. Now, as I've gone around the Catalan regions of Earth, and I'm wondering, why is it so many people are homeless and there are so many buildings empty? I've had to look over the last 30 years. Sidestep. In an earlier video blog, I told you that I'd come back and give you some more of the codes to undo the literatures so you can see how they've coordinated themselves around you over the last 3,000 years. Now, one of these codes in the literatures is the numbers. Because remember, they have this numerology crap which they do, and it is rubbish. Just sending you down a false road, like most of the rubbish they do in their conspiracies, sending you down false roads so you end up nowhere. But two of the numbers are very significant: 3 and 10. And if you look in Hesiod or Horace, you'll see the 10, and you'll see it in Homer too, and the 100, and the 3, because it's every 30 years there's a change. The 10s and the 100s, because it's every 10, hundreds, thousands of years that their plans go for. And the last plan you'll see of the last 100 years was directed by William James in his speech, Peace, Utopia. How he directs them to make themselves more martial as they learn martial arts of the Chinese and the yoga of the Asians, as they bring themselves to a martial mindset in killing all non-Slavs and Jews in their war upon nature, as he says it. We have to renew our war and step up our efforts on our war on nature, his very words. Anyhow, coming back to the Catalan regions of Europe. Using this number 3 and 10, you'll see that in the last 30 years, what has happened in the last 30 years? The capitalization of Russia, no? Fuck off. See these stupid bastards? Everywhere I go, every single country, every single city, they come around and video. That's why I told him to fuck off. He ain't moving because he's a stupid little bastard, but he hears me. Anyhow, in the last 30 years, you'll see the capitalization of Russia, the breaking up of the communist system in Russia. Now, as the communist system in Russia broke up, everything got stolen from Russia. Arms, creating a huge black market, all the oil money, gas money, all the corporation money is owned by the government, creating hundreds of thousands of billionaires, millionaires. And it's not just Russia, because remember, USSR was a confederate state, a confederate place. So Poland, what was once Yugoslavia, that became Czech, and Czechoslovakia, which became Slav, and what is the other one? Can't remember, but either way. Bulgaria, Poland, all of these places. As they were broken up out of Russia, all these billionaires, these oligarchs, as they stole all the money of these regions, came to be, and these millionaires. And over the last 30 years, 35 maximum, maybe 40, you'll see an inset of these people moving into other regions of Europe. Now, in Valencia, in Barcelona, in Alicante, Tarragona, Castellón, Nice, Paris, Marseille, you'll see a huge influx of these Slavs over the last 30, 35 years. And as they've moved into these areas, including London and many places of England, as they've moved in, you'll see that they've been buying up all the properties, because as I've already shown you, the government leaders, the local government leaders are all Slav also in every region, so they're all in on it together, they're all family and friends. So as they've moved from Russia into the eastern regions of Europe, into other areas of the North and South America, the government people changed the law, privatizing and selling off the property owned by the government, which was once public housing systems. So they start selling them off, privatizing them to all these Slavs and Jews who are moving into these areas around the earth. And as they sell these houses off and privatize all housing in these regions around the earth, because the Slavs are buying it up, and they're all in on it together, the governments, the local governments, federal, whatever, they then create the immobiliarias, the agencies, and the agencies start saying, oh, we need to have contracts of work for you to have a home. Now, in the beginning, nobody thought anything of it, because employment was quite high. But now employment is at a record low, and you have COVID-19. And there are businesses shutting down every day in every area of Europe. In fact, there are businesses shutting down every day around the world. And yet these agencies are still asking for contracts of employment when there are no jobs. So now you're seeing all these homeless people all over Europe because they can no longer find jobs, so they no longer have contracts of employment. And this has taken place over the last 3 decades, 4 decades maximum. You've seen this coordination, privatization of Russia, the splitting up of all the Balkan states out of Russia, the creation of oligarchs and billionaires, and then moving around the earth and buying up all the property, the changing of laws in all the different countries they've gone to, the changing of local legislation everywhere they've gone to allow them to buy up the properties and take away the housing stock owned by the countries, and now all the homeless all over the world. Now, the reason why I show you this is to let you see that As well as I've been trying to show you a picture that provides a context over the last 3,000 years, so you can see the true context behind the situations of your daily lives today. I realized recently, as meditating, that many of you cannot, because it is a vast picture. And unless you're very centered, this picture is too vast for many to see, because you're not centered for long enough to hold all the different elements in place and see that picture. So, in my meditation this morning, as I've been contemplating, I've been wondering how this came about, so I can show this to you, because this is only 35 years. So you can see the orchestration in the top level picture I've just given you, of this whole situation you find yourselves in today, where everyone's becoming homeless and the Jews and the Slavs own all the properties and nobody's allowed to move in because they own all the agencies also, which are the gatekeepers to giving you homes, and they're not giving you homes because you don't have work contracts, and there are no businesses because of COVID-19 and the local economy anyway. You'll see this has been orchestrated. It's an active orchestration. It isn't a coincidental coming together of things. Now, my people, as I've been asking you over the last 10 years and even longer, when are you going to come together? And it's very good and very telling that I'm in an area of the earth where they once, in the 17th century, 18th century, already cut off the heads of the Slavs who were the leaders back then and threw them into the blood clot volcanoes where they deserve to be. When are you going to cut off all their fucking heads? When are you going to throw them all in the fucking volcanoes that they deserve? Because they are killing your children on a daily basis. They are creating situations where you are homeless and starving and have no work. When are you going to fucking stand up and do the correct thing? Because the prophecies already say you are going to. And the longer you take, the more of your children die in the process. So it's a very good thing I now stand here in Nice, because I'm in a country where this has happened once before, and the Slavs their heads were chopped off once and for all by the citoyen. When are you going to come back together and do what's necessary? Look at the things I've shown you over the last 3 to 4 decades, and you'll see everything I say corroborates. Nothing I say is a lie. And then you can go back and look at the things I've been telling you of the literatures for the last 3,000 years. My beautiful people, I am never going to stop until you cut off every blood clot one of their heads, because they have come at me every day of my life. I have never had a single moment of peace because they have been trying to kill me so I do not tell you the truth. The last 4 years I've been put in jail 5 times. I've been tortured twice because I'm telling you the truth. And they think I'm going to stop talking because they've created fear in me. All they've done is make me more resolute. I am never going to stop until each and every fucking one is dead and my people are once again free. I have spoken.